Hello.
Hi there.
I don't know if they can hear us.
Oh, we can hear you guys. Where are you guys right now, by the way?
We're in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when Larsa's not filming the show in Miami, we're based out of here just because our kids are here.
Guys, I should say that this is a very surreal thing for us because Charlotte and I and producer Ryan Cortez, who's hiding behind the glass like a coward, we've listened to every episode of your podcast, and this is, I'm a little nervous.
I'm very nervous. It's like being inside your podcast. Like you guys have been inside our ears so much that I'm like, oh my God.
We're excited to be here, you guys.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Right. I should point out for our podcast audience that Marcus and Larsa are sitting very close together, arm around the other, sipping Marcus's a nice cup of coffee, smiling, radiant. And behind the glass here, our producer Ryan Cortez is one of the haters, okay? So he's like, I don't believe this relationship is real. This is engineered. It's too on the nose, guys. That's what he says. And I've heard that all across the internet. So what do you say to such people who still have doubts about this?
Can we swear on here?
Absolutely.
Please.
I was just gonna say, that's kind of my mentality is them all, because I just feel like we complement each other in so many different ways that like whatever she's having a good day, I'm there to support her, and vice versa. And so I don't know. I feel like we're living in our truth, and anybody that isn't happy about it can piss off.
I guess part of me does wonder, like when you guys met and you started dating, Larsa, you even say on the podcast, you're like, oh my God, is this worth it? Like, I know what's going to come with this. There's so many fish in the sea. Do you think any part of you were attracted to each other, to the idea of the relationship because it felt a little taboo or a little dangerous? Or
no, not at all. Once we started hanging out more and more together, we just kind of like were attracted to each other, and we are so much alike that it's crazy. So yeah, I know aesthetically it probably doesn't look good. And I feel like when people see us together and hang out with us, they're like, it makes sense. But I think just to hear of it, it doesn't resonate well with people.
I think the more time that people spend around us, they realize that it's genuine,
Well, listening to you guys talk about it at length, that it becomes clear at the very least, if you guys are putting on a show here, you're putting a lot of time into this show.
First of all, you guys, who's got time to I already have a show here, a business. Who's got time for hocus pocus? We don't. I don't. I have 5 companies, you guys. Like I have 4 kids. Who's got time for that? And we clearly don't need to, fake a relationship for over a year. Who would do that? I would never do that.
So the question I have though is because you guys are also, and this is the part that extra breaks my brain, is Larsa, you are a reality television star, and so the thinking, right, of the pros and cons. Take us to the pros and cons list you must have been making in your head when you guys are just now contemplating romance.
I mean, I think for us, because we were friends before, I just knew that it would be hard for us to date. I just knew it was like impossible. Like, how could I date Marcus? It's impossible. And then the more and more time we spent together, it was like there were so many pros, you guys. It was like a list of 1 billion.
Yeah.
And the cons were our last names. And that's literally what it was, our last names. I'm not concerned with like my ex or Marcus's like we're both adults. I don't ask my ex who he dates. I've never said one bad thing about my ex. I wish him nothing but the best. I feel like for me, the only thing that like I care about is my happiness, Marcus's happiness, and my kids that are affected by us being together. And I feel like my kids love him and he fits in our family so effortlessly. And it's just like an easy, it's like an easy relationship. And I also want to say, and I feel like we have a lot in common, maybe because we're both from Chicago. We both grew up kind of in the same place. Like Marcus was friends with my brother-in-law, played basketball with my brother-in-law, not including me, for years. like his circle, like he knows all my cousins.
Yeah, I like to say we're cut from the same cloth in that Chicago upbringing.
Well, also the Chicago Bulls jersey, that literal cloth. I mean, guys, this is the part that's.
No, I wish I could take credit for the whole Chicago Bulls like run, but I was a senior at UIC when Scottie played with Marcus's dad.
Yeah.
So I was in college. I was like 21 years old when they played together. I was only there for 1 year. The last year they played together. And I was like never in Chicago with his dad again. So it wasn't like people think like, oh, she was there the whole time. I was in high school.
And Marcus, what did you have a relationship with Scottie? I saw, I was looking through Instagram and that he reposted Trophy Room in like 2017. Has that been a factor at all?
Oh, no, I wasn't even aware of that. And, no, I saw him, whenever he was around my dad. And, that's kind of what it was. But no, I wouldn't say that we had any type of relationship, no.
What's it like, Larsa, to have you been around Michael while in the relationship that you have with Marcus? How I want to just imagine that if it's happened. What can you tell us about what that is like?
I feel like I don't really want to talk about I don't want to talk about Michael. I don't want to talk about my ex. I feel like we're really comfortable talking about us.
Yeah.
I feel like our families just want us to be happy. And, I feel like I don't want to put too much emphasis on your family or my family other than like us and my kids that are affected by our relationship.
Yeah,
other than that, like no one's really affected by our relationship, to be honest with you.
I think the main thing for my dad was like, look, you're a grown adult, grown ass man is what he said. And
is that what he texted you?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. He was like, you're a grown ass man. You can make your own decisions. Ultimately, as long as I'm happy, he's happy. And so, he's never intervened in my dating life prior to Larsa. And so he's not going to start now. So,
but Larsa and guys, I totally understand you. This is a diplomacy that I'm impressed by because it feels like as reality television is concerned, you guys are leaving some juice on the table, right? Like if you guys were messier, I think the potential of this to be an even bigger tabloid internet breaking story would be obvious to me, Larsa. And yet you're clearly like not interested in that degree of mess.
Well, there's no mess. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like that. I don't want the smoke. I want none of that. I just want to be happy. And I feel like together we make each other happy.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I know I've read things online that basically people are like, oh, she's trying to get back at her ex and I'm like, it's none of that. It's like, I've never been that person. I would never, ever in a billion years try to do that. That's not my intention. But if you meet someone and you have a great connection with them and they make you happy and you fall in love with them, then that's what it is. It's not like, it's not like we're hurting anyone. It's not like, we're just both happy. So I think people should just be happy for us.
Yeah.
The same way I would be happy for someone that found love. Like I am a romantic person. I would be happy for them.
Charlotte just got married, by the way.
I did. Yes.
Congrats on that. Yeah.
When's the wedding, you guys? And
speaking of which, how about you guys?
Exactly. It's in the works. This is my go-to saying right now. I don't think we have like a date. We're still talking about locations and party size and all of that stuff. So it's not really concrete yet, but it'll happen.
Marcus, do you want your dad to give a toast at your wedding? How does this work?
Yeah, look, I was the best man at his wedding, and the best man at my brother's wedding, and so obviously we'll keep that tradition going. Is my thoughts on it.
I want in. I want video cameras there.
Now that I've been on the Housewives of Miami, all the producers are inquiring around. When's the wedding? Are we gonna film it on TV? Yada yada yada. And so that's another thing that we're kind of playing along with is whether or not it will air.
What are you leaning towards? I mean, and what is it like being on that show? And your love is so real, but you guys also are so intriguing because of who you are. So what's the balance there?
I obviously look. We're very private people, the Jordans, and so if it was up to me, I think we would do maybe multiple weddings, one private for our family and friends, and then maybe there's one that's a little more public. But I guess time will tell. Yeah, I'm noticing Larsa is very diplomatic about this subject as well.
It's not my story, you guys. I don't, when you were talking about I don't give up names, I kind of don't feel like I don't really want, like, if it's my story about me, I'm very transparent, I'm very open. But when it's someone else, I feel like I try to be sensitive to someone else's feelings,
Yeah.
And so I don't like to like use people's names unless they're present in the room and they can defend themselves in their story, because there's two sides to every story.
Mhm.
And I feel like when it comes down to Marcus's family, like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not the person that should be talking about that or saying how Michael feels. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. I feel like for me, the only person I can talk about is myself. Like, I'm really open about like how I feel and what I'm doing, but I don't have a problem telling someone to their face. I'm good for that. But I just feel like when I'm talking about people, I kind of feel like I'm sensitive to like how they would feel if they heard it or whatever. If they're in the same room, then we can talk about whatever. I'm not going to talk about Marcus's family. Like, you talk about them,
So now I'm going to be incredibly invasive as I can possibly be, because I want to know about your potential kids, you two guys. Marcus, I saw this Instagram photo you just posted, the second slide.
A lot of people are talking.
I'm an investigative journalist. You were sort of like palming, as your dad would palm a basketball, you two were palming Larsa's womb. So what was up with that?
I'm always holding her tight, and so there's nothing there. I did see some comments on IG about that, but it's if it's in the cards, it's in the cards. But right now, we're just taking it day by day.
What's the last name gonna be, if in fact we get to that point? How does that work? You guys must have done the math on this.
Yeah, that's easy. It's gonna be Jordan, 100%.
Jordan.
No hyphen. There's no Pippen - Jordan.
Nah.
No.
If that happens, obviously the wedding date, she's Jordan, and then any kids would be Jordan's.
My kids being Pippen also, I feel like unless I got remarried, I wouldn't change my last name. But if I do, obviously when we do get married, I'm going to change my last name.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, like, I am struck by the normalcy of you guys amid the abnormality of what this is on paper. Like, to me, okay, Larsa, what already are you responding to there? Yeah.
I know. I get it. It's awkward. Like, it's weird. I get it. But to us, it's not weird. It's probably weird to the world because our last names are known for, basketball history.
And it's also the context of like the history of duos, right? Like, this is part of why this is so delicious and irresistible, is that Jordan and Pippen is the most famous tandem maybe in human history.
You guys don't understand. I feel like for us, like, we work together, we work out together. We spend so much time together that I think people don't understand that. Like, I can finish his sentences and he can finish my sentences.
Literally.
So I think it's just like, for us, it's like an easy, what's the word? Like,
I don't know. It's just like,
we're like peanut butter and jelly.
yeah, it's just like
Another famous duo.
Right.
But I think had it been where Marcus's dad or family said, hey, never see her again, we probably would just continue being friends.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating.
I think, I would never want to be with someone who I would never want to be in a situation where I'm destroying someone's family or causing major turmoil. That's not my intention. Would never be my intention, So I think had it been like that, I think when people think about your dad, I'm like, if he didn't want us to be together, by the way, we wouldn't be together.
Nah, I mean,
we would not be together. Just like, it just wouldn't happen. I would never want to be in a situation like that.